activities do I like doing barefoot? That is almost the same question as what activities do I like doing, since I'm always barefoot. I like taking walks in nature, especially when there's water to wade in and out of. And I really like to go barefoot in an urban environment. Yeah, it's great to bring that same sense of freedom and wildness and groundedness to walking around a city, taking public transportation and things like that. And I love going about my daily life, just doing all my regular activities barefoot. I've been driving barefoot actually for much longer than I've been doing other things barefoot, because someone clued me in that it's a myth that it's illegal to drive barefoot. And that's great, because I end up doing a lot of driving, and it's just a lot easier on my body, I find, to drive barefoot. I really like going to the movies barefoot. It's interesting that I go to a lot of movies and never, ever in any theater has anyone said anything about it. And it's really nice to be able to relax. When I used to wear flip-flops to a movie, there, I would kind of slip them off, and there they would be kind of awkwardly in the way if someone walked by. But now I don't have to worry about that. And it's surprisingly clean on a movie theater floor, because they clean it pretty often.
Well, like most people who take going barefoot to the absolute extreme, I like walking, funnily enough. But I particularly like walking around in urban areas, so intermittent walking. I like city streets. I love it when it's warm and raining. Warm, wet pavement's my absolute favourite. And I love being able to break up a walk by popping into a pub, grabbing a pint, grabbing some lunch. Very social activities, but combined with walking, which is kind of the point of going barefoot. You can't fully enjoy it unless you're walking around on your feet.
I love hiking barefoot. It's really fun. I don't get as much opportunity to do that anymore. I have a 10-year-old son, and he doesn't like hiking, so trying to get him to go out and trying to find the time for myself to go out is a challenge between work and my family's responsibilities. Finding the time to go on a nice long barefoot hike just doesn't really work out as easily as I would like it to. But I do enjoy those very much. I used to have a meetup group where we would go out for barefoot hikes, and I really enjoyed leading those. I taught a barefoot hiking 101 class, as I have the book from Richard Frazeen, The Barefoot Hiker, which I highly recommend if you haven't gotten a copy of it. It's really, really awesome. It teaches you everything there is to know about barefoot hiking, and even just barefoot walking. So right now I just do a lot of walking. I have done some running on occasion, but it usually messes my body up pretty badly afterwards. I do enjoy barefoot running, but not the after effect.
In my massage practice, I started doing my work barefoot, and I found that actually really helped a lot, because by the end of the day, if I was had a long day, I was actually getting pretty sore and tired and achy, and actually getting some sharp pain in my foot. My hips were getting really tired, so that kind of got me started on doing something outside my home barefoot, even if it was still in an indoor, comfortable environment. Then I just started kind of going everywhere and doing everything pretty much barefoot. So, I go to and from work, I go places around town. So I'm in Boston, so it's mostly urban setting. So I'm on the sidewalks and the roads and everything. Actually, what's funny is the roads are often smoother and softer to walk on than the sidewalks are. Twice a week there are actually barefoot dances that are in the nearby area, and most of them are not barefooters who actually go to the dances. It's another indoor, safe environment kind of thing. But those are fun and a cool activity. I'm getting into running more, so I've been going out and running in the neighborhood around the pond nearby. I've done a couple of 5Ks, and upcoming is an obstacle course 5K in downtown Boston that we do this next weekend. Also, I've gone hiking just once so far, getting out in the woods, so I'm mostly in the city, but I'm trying to get into some natural environments a little bit too. Essentially just everything, but trying to get out into lots of different challenging environments and just trying out doing everything barefoot pretty much.
Right now we are in the backstage area, the workshop area, and I try to keep this obsessively clean and always barefoot friendly, free from glass and nails and screws. We have many screws frequently laying around, but this is kind of where we try to be I can be barefoot and comfortably barefoot.
I like to go barefoot at fairs and amusement parks. My daughter loves roller coasters and other rides, and it's actually really fun and comfortable to do those things barefoot. And one of my favorite places to go barefoot is the Seattle Center when there's some kind of a festival going on, because then I see a lot of people barefoot other than me, and it's kind of interesting how once a certain number of people are barefoot, all those misgivings about the dangers of being barefoot kind of fade away, and a lot more people feel comfortable being barefoot.
If I dislike doing something barefoot, I won't do it barefoot. I'm not dogmatic about my barefooting. I don't like feeling like I'm restricted to being a barefooter all the time. I am a barefooter and I live a barefoot lifestyle, but that doesn't mean that I'm beholden to have my feet bare every moment of every day. I find that to be as restrictive as thinking that you have to wear shoes all the time. The one thing that I would say that might be an exception to that rule is toughening up my soles for the hotter weather. I don't actually like that. I don't want to necessarily go out in the heat because it is my feet are tender at the beginning of every year when the temperatures get up a little bit warmer. So it's not pleasant, but it's sort of a necessary evil for me because I want to make sure that my soles have some amount of conditioning on them so that I can enjoy being outside barefoot in the summertime. I tend to be a little bit more restricted with my barefooting when it comes to restaurants and food places. That's the one area that I still have a little bit of a psychological block. Like I still won't go into a sit-down restaurant barefoot. I will slip my shoes off when I get to the table and enjoy my meal barefoot, but I tend to put them on and take them off to get in and out the door. It's just my personal preference. I totally know there's nothing wrong with it. I just can't get through that. So that's a difficulty that I'm still not necessarily working hard to overcome because I'm comfortable. I'm not dogmatic about it, so I'm okay with putting on shoes just for those few seconds or few minutes it takes to get inside the door. Maybe, trying to do a sit-down restaurant would be kind of a thing. I have thought about it, and I've thought about it in terms of thinking that there's really nothing wrong, and so I don't know why I do that.
Rain, for me, is a little more uncomfortable than walking around when it's dry out, just because more grit and stuff sticks to your feet. It irritates me a little bit if I'm just trying to get from place to place. I'd rather walk in the dry weather than the rain. I don't want to put my shoes back on because I don't want my shoes to get wet, and I don't want to put my wet feet into shoes and all this kind of thing. The only way to get your body to respond and change what it does is by actually challenging it. The whole point is taking your body to kind of its current limit and then giving it enough stimulation to change so that it can get better at whatever it is that you want to do. Building up toughness on the soles of the feet and endurance and just becoming more acclimated to the sensations is also not super pleasant all the time, but it's something where I feel the benefits already, and I anticipate more benefits. I do break down, and occasionally I might wear shoes sometimes if it's just too inconvenient or uncomfortable. But I do like to also, push it and keep trying to do more and do better and get more comfortable.
Occasionally there will be a little stretch of sharp gravel on a path or something, and that can be kind of uncomfortable. It's kind of fun to walk on, but what I don't like about it is I have to walk so slow and carefully for that sometimes. But to put on shoes just for that would be more inconvenient for me than to just walk on it barefoot. But it's possible that in the future, if a lot more people are barefoot, that gravel would become less common as something people use to put on a path.
I suppose the obvious thing is just going into a toilet in a public place where you have no idea what state it's in. You know you're going to be stepping on something you would never ever want to put near your mouth, but I don't put my feet near my mouth, so I can get used to that idea quite quickly and just make sure I wash it all off. If I've cut myself and I'm a little bit extra conscious, but that doesn't happen very often, and I know that as long as I get my feet clean at the end of the day, I'm going to be absolutely fine. Funnily enough, the only other surface I really hate walking on, but will do it anyway, if I have to be in someone's house and they've got velvet on the floor. I can't stand the feel of velvet on any part of my body, never mind my feet. entirely sure why that is, but it's true for me anyway.